The January 6th Select Committee is set for a primetime hearing this evening. The committee is investigating the January 6th riot, interviewing witnesses that had a first-hand view of the siege. Tonight, the House Committee investigating the insurrection will hold the first of at least 6 public hearings. The first hearing is expected to provide an overview of the January 6th Committee's nearly year-long investigation. Those testifying include the first law enforcement officer injured by rioters and a British filmmaker who followed the far-right extremist group, the Proud Boys, as they stormed the U.S. Capitol. The committee's investigation centers on former President Trump's actions during the insurrection and the election fraud claims that motivated the attack, as well as law enforcement's response to the riot. Leaders from across the Western Hemisphere are gathered in Los Angeles to take part in the Summit of the Americas hosted by President Joe Biden. The summit is an opportunity for the U.S. and regional leaders to meet face-to-face and discuss issues of common interest. The 5-day summit centers around the theme of building a sustainable, resilient, and equitable future. Over 20 heads of state and government are expected to be in attendance, which an administration official said would be in line with past gatherings. However, the president has been met with mixed reviews for his decision to exclude Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua from the event. This year will mark the 9th Summit of the Americas, and it will end on June 10th. It's the first U.S.-hosted summit since the inaugural event in Miami back in 1994. The man who threatened to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was arrested on Wednesday. Investigators could be seen outside the California home of Nicholas John Roske that afternoon. The 26-year-old from Simi Valley was carrying a gun, knife, and zip ties near Kavanaugh's home in Montgomery County, Maryland. Roske was dressed in black and arrived at the justice's home just after 1 a.m., carrying a Glock 17 pistol, ammo, knife, zip ties, pepper spray, and duct tape. All items he told police he would use to break into Kavanaugh's house and kill him. Roske allegedly claims he purchased the gun with the sole intention of killing Kavanaugh and would have killed himself. He recently appeared in federal court and was ordered held without bond. Roske's next court date is scheduled for June 22nd as he faces charges that could carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. In the wake of a string of mass shootings, survivors and families who lost loved ones are sharing their trauma with the American public. Tragic stories told by victims' families in hopes this will lead to changes in the nation's gun laws. NBC's Bree Jackson has more.
Door between our classrooms.
Emotional testimony from victims of mass shootings.
Shot my teacher and told my teacher goodnight and shot her in the head.
4th grader Mia Cirio appearing by video and recalling the horrifying moments a gunman entered her Texas elementary school. Out of desperation, the 11-year-old played dead to survive.
I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and put it all over me.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Uvalde's only pediatrician describing the horrors he saw.
2 children whose bodies have been pulverized by bullets fired at them, decapitated, whose flesh had been ripped apart, that the only clue as their identities was a blood-splattered cartoon clothes still clinging to them.
Heartbroken parents say Congress must take action against gun violence.
To some people, to people with money, to people who fund political campaigns, that guns are more important than children.
The moving testimony not necessarily moving Republicans on gun reform measures.
I think it's a mistake to infringe the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens.
Bipartisan negotiations continue over proposals including red flag laws and increasing school security.
Do you feel safe at school? Why not?
Because I don't want it to happen again.
And you think it's going to happen again?
Lawmakers are aiming for the end of this week to finalize negotiations.
Your thoughts and prayers are not enough.
Families sharing stories of heartbreak hope their testimonies change minds and federal laws. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.